that because, I mean, oh my God, two of these main card fights were not good. And the co-main, maybe the worst title fight in UFC history. I don't know. There was a Bellator title fight that I always bring up that was definitely worse than this, but it was Rafael Calvero and Melvin Manhoff in like 2012 or something. But this was. I mean, you've watched more UFC than I have. Was it the worst UFC title fight of all time?
I mean, hot take day after is definitely yes. And especially when I'm thinking about it, like the only ones I could compare it to as far as bad as it was. I mean, you got the Adesanya Yoel Romero fight, that was bad. The aforementioned Anderson Silva Damian Maia fight. The third fight between Andrei Arlovsky and Tim Sylvia, that was bad. But I mean, I don't know that anything was as bad as this. This was completely horrible and an embarrassment for a title fight. It's just, and I mean,
do you have the striking stats? Wasn't it like they land like 35 combined strikes or something?
No, they landed like 60 something. It was by the end
60. Okay,
but in the first two rounds, the first 10 minutes, they landed a combined total of 15 strikes. So
yeah, first round was 3-3, and
it was 4-4 in the first. Once it was all count.
4-4. Okay, yeah, they said 3-3 on the broadcast, but and that first round was. I mean, I have no idea how you pick a winner. I mean, I know you have to, but I mean, they had the exact same amount of strikes landed. Nobody went for a takedown. I mean, you know, you can go with octagon control, but who was controlling it? You know, like one was leading it, but were they really controlling it? You know, I have no idea. Like I never score around 10-10, and I scored that round 10-10, and I know a lot of people did. Now I don't know, like I saw it on Twitter. I don't know how many of the media members actually scored a 10-10. I know I did, and I saw some other, you know, prominent people tweeting that they were scoring a 10-10, but I don't know if they actually did. And even the second round, you could have gone 10-10. I mean, you know, but I picked Carla because she went for a takedown. And then so I had Carla up 3-0 going into the fifth. I thought Rose won the fifth. But I mean, a lot of those rounds were coin flips. So, I mean, one judge had it basically the same as me. I mean, nobody gave it a 10-10, but if you go 10-9 Esparza in the first round, like one of the judges had it the same as I did. One had it 48-47 Carla. The other one had it 48-47 Rose. Honestly, like if either fighter had won, I don't think the other fighter should have been upset. But I don't think Rose deserved to retain her title the way this fight went. I'm not sure Carlo deserved to win, but I definitely don't think Rose deserved, you know, she deserved it less. And when they read those scores, like her corner was telling her she was winning. And when they read the scores, she was like, whatever. And like, I've never seen a champion lose a decision and look less interested in the result. Like she had no desire to fight, I think, is what happened here. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but she did not care like at all.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've always heard the stories about Rose and her mental health and you know, sometimes whether she has desires to fight or not. I did score the fight for Rose, but I honestly will tell you that that was like almost kind of impossible fight to score for most of it because I know people were doing 10-10 rounds. You know, I scored every round 10-9 because I know what the judges are going to do. Yes, 10-10 rounds are in there, just like 10-7 rounds. Those are mythical scores that exist on paper but are not used in practice. So I don't, you know, a lot of these media members, I don't know why they just, I mean, I don't know. I get scoring the fights 10-10, but you know the judges aren't going to do that. So why even bother? You know, you got to figure out. I mean, just it's problems with the scoring, and this should have been open scoring because Rose's corner telling her she was up 4-0. It was a horrible game plan. It was just an utterly horrible all around from Rose in her corner. Like, they should all be ashamed of how that went. It was just terrible. And she was talking in her post-fight press conference about how she didn't understand, like, she was playing defense, and that she didn't understand how that wasn't scoring points and didn't win her rounds. Like has she ever read like the scoring criteria? The scoring criteria is 100% on offense. There's no defense in the scoring criteria. Yeah. So it's just it was just utterly baffling all around.
Like Pat Barry, like, and that was the other thing, was the corner. They were almost like arguing with each other. Like the Pat Barry was telling her, "You're doing great. You hear the crowd booing? They're booing her. That's exactly what we want." Like, I'm just baffled listening to this. And like, I don't recall ever hearing a corner give worse advice. Like, they should have been motivating her, get out there, like, go for it. You can't lose your title like this, like, instead of like, we got it right where we want her, like, oh my God. And then Carla, like, I don't know what was going on with her either, because like, I think she probably had a better sense that I better try to do something. So that's why she was going for takedowns. And then I think finally in the 5th round, like, maybe Rose realized maybe my corner's not right. And she started like fighting a little bit. And I think the only clear round, really, like 100% clear round, was Rose in the 5th. But I mean, it wasn't like a totally dominant round or anything. It was just like she did a little bit more. I think, she probably landed more strikes. And I think overall she landed more strikes. So your assessment of giving her the fight may be right in that sense. But I mean, it was really like, I mean, I think I saw one media member scored it a draw. And I mean, of course, this fight like this is not going to be a draw, but I mean, honestly, like, it kind of was, because neither fighter really won. But Carla Esparza is the UFC champ. She is her second title reign, was the longest number of days between title wins in UFC history. I think it's been like 8 years since she won the first one. So good for her. And again, I mentioned it on our show last week. I would not even have thought that she would ever even fight for a title again, let alone win one, after the way she lost to Joanna Jędrzejczyk. So good for her. What did Cormier in the 5th round? He's like, well, I guess they're going to have to run this back. And then Joe Rogan says, you want to see this again? And I just popped for that one. Yeah. That was funny, because I don't like, they're never doing this. Yeah,
it ain't happening. It ain't happening. I will say on Carla, I feel like she didn't want to do anything, and it was because of the fact that she's getting married this coming weekend.
Yeah, they mentioned that. And like, wow. Yeah. And I didn't even they mentioned that in the fight, and I didn't even know which one they were talking about. Like, I thought, maybe it was Rose and Pat are finally getting married, but